Hey everybody, and welcome to this live stream both on YouTube and on Facebook. If you guys are new to my YouTube channel, my name is Jeff Fagan. I'm a filmmaker and director of photography based in South Florida. And this is one of my first live tech streams, and I'm going to make it quick, but I figured this is very relevant to what's going on today because a lot of people are trying to live stream right now, and a lot of people also have the Blackmagic Pocket Camera. It's a great camera, and weirdly enough, it's actually a pretty decent camera for the live stream. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to kind of go over all the little different pieces that you need in order to do the live stream from the Pocket Camera. I'm not really going to go over lighting until the end because that's not necessarily something that you need in this current environment of COVID-19. But down the line, obviously, lighting is nice. I use the lighting because I have it for all my other work. But we will go over that. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. And what I'll do is I'm gonna kind of go through my shtick. And when I get to the end, I'll see the comments and we'll go over them. So, anyways, let's talk about the live streaming. And if you see me going down, it's just because I'm looking at some of the stuff on my computer. And again, bear with me because this is one of my first live streams for specifically Tech Talk. So let's talk about the Blackmagic. So the reason I love the Blackmagic is, weirdly enough, it's one of those cameras that can do a lot in camera for these live streams. So with a normal DSLR, let me change the angle a little bit. For a normal DSLR, to use a microphone setup like this and have really nice audio quality, there's a lot of different pieces you need, whether it's an external recorder, whether it's a camera like a GH5 where you need basically an audio interface. The Blackmagic doesn't need that. You can take a microphone like this, and as long as you're using the XLR adapter, you can put it directly into the XLR port. The camera can give it phantom power, and you're really just using the camera, the microphone, and then your device to stream. So the Blackmagic is a great product to be able to do that and kind of simplify everything. A few things that I've noticed when using the Blackmagic. So first, you obviously need to use some kind of LUT when you're going to go live. So you either need to use the LUTs that are included with the camera, or you need to use one of your custom LUTs. But the really nice feature of the Blackmagic is that it can output that LUT over the HDMI. So I'm using a LUT created by Jeff Worley from Craft Show. It's a great LUT. It's one of my favorite LUTs, but you can use any LUT you want, but you obviously want to use some kind of LUT to output a nice color. You don't really want to be doing this in Blackmagic film, as they call it. Another thing to notice, or really to think about, a great thing to have is an app for either your iPhone or your iPad to where you can control the settings on the Blackmagic wirelessly, and you can also control the focus. As long as you're using a lens that has electronics in it, it can even be a lens using a Metabones adapter. Again, the focus isn't seamless, but it's good enough to where you can hit your critical focus point, and you don't have to be messing with like I accidentally just touched it right there. You don't have to be messing with the camera the whole time. The only reason I'm not using it now is I'm live and my phone's actually almost out of power. But I use BM Cam control. It's a great option, and it works while you're doing the live stream because the connection uses Bluetooth, which is great. So another thing which you actually don't necessarily, so a lot of people think about using an external monitor, and you would think you'd need one of these to do the live streams. Well, depending on what you're using, you can actually use your computer as an external monitor. So I'm somewhat judging focus and judging exposure based off of what I'm seeing on my computer, but it's giving me that external monitor, which is why you guys keep seeing me look down. I'm looking down, seeing the focus, seeing what's going on, but you can have your monitor wherever you want it to be. But that's something you actually don't need to purchase as long as you have the monitor somewhere close by. Your computer monitor, whatever you're using, you can use that as your external monitor. So other than that, the last thing you need some kind of capture device. Now, before I talk about the capture devices, just to let you know, everything that I'm breezing through, it's all in the description. They are affiliate links, but they're the affiliate links, but it lets you see it. You don't feel obligated to buy them through there. It's just an easy way for me to give you guys the links to see what I'm talking about. So let's talk on the capture device. So I'm using an Elgato Cam link. It's not the only option, but it's a very easy option because the device itself is barely bigger than a flash drive. So I have this device, I plug it into my computer. It works with both Mac and PC, and you hook it directly through HDMI into the device, and then from the device into the computer. Now, the ones that are being sold now are 4K, but you can obviously do 1080, and the Blackmagic only outputs 1080. So that's what you're going to be doing for a stream anyways. My personal opinion, I think it's best to actually stream in 1080 unless you're one of the big broadcasters, because streaming in 4K takes up a lot of bandwidth. And especially in these times of COVID-19, I've been noticing, various bandwidth issues, not just with me, but with guests I've had on a lot of my shows. So to keep it simple, you want to do that 1080. The software I'm using actually, I believe, limits you to 720. But the thing is, resolution isn't everything, and I think we all know that. It's more about the image and how everything looks. So you can get away with a nice 1080 720p broadcast as long as you're feeding in a great image. So there's that to remember. Now, what I did notice when I went to go look up some of these links to show you guys, the Elgato, for whatever reason, it isn't really easily being sold. And the only price I saw for it was price gouged, essentially. It was like $400. So don't recommend going necessarily that link. I put it there just so you guys can see what I'm using. But normally it's going for a little over $100. So what I did was I included other options that you can use that essentially do the same thing as the Elgato Cam link. And one of them was a little bit better than the Elgato Cam link, but I would say that's more for cameras like a GH5, cameras that don't have a lot of the options that the Blackmagic does, at least with audio. Another option was actually like $60. It says that it works on both Mac and PC, but when I've seen those, they tend to work better on PC for whatever reason. But that's a $60 option, and it's an HDMI USB 3 capture card. So there are relatively cheap solutions to get out there when you want to stream from the Blackmagic Pocket 4K. Everything that I'm going with, it's the same for the 6K. Powering the camera, I'm not really too worried. I pretty much have it powered into the mains, so I'm not worried about this camera, losing power anytime soon. Highly recommend you power the camera into the mains. And if you're going to do this and you're going to leave it plugged in, do make sure that you have the internal battery taken out. Do not leave the internal battery in. There's really no reason, especially if you're going to leave this camera up for an extended period of time, no reason to constantly give it juice. Once those things are charged, unplug them and just, keep them for when you need them. So definitely remember to unplug that. With this whole live streaming setup too, one thing that I actually never realized I would ever use is that record button on the front of the camera. Occasionally when I need to record internally some of these streams and I want to just record me, that button has actually come in handy of pressing it. And I've never imagined I would use that button. So I figured I'd just put that note out there. So that is the basics of streaming with the Pocket 4K. Part of the reason I wanted to do this, not necessarily the live stream, but this video, is because I did a video back in 2018 when I got the Pocket Cam originally, and I did a video lightly touching over streaming with the Pocket 4K. And that video did okay back then, but it's been getting a lot of views in the past month or two, especially because of everything going on. So I figured if people are interested in streaming with the Pocket 4K, it would be nice to give a much shorter, more concise video of how to do it, especially because some things have happened since then. There's other options as far as fields of view in the camera. Back then, you could only do 4K, or you can window into 1080. Now, if you want, because it's a 1080 signal, you can use the 4K full sensor. You can use the 2.6K cropped in, or you can use the 1080 cropped in sensor. And the quality is very similar on all of them, especially because you're outputting 1080. But if you like the field of view in one or the other, you just remember you have those options to do that. Right now, we are using full 4K sensor capture, but when I was using the Tokina 11-16, I had a 0.64 Metabones XL speed booster on there. And so what I decided to do when I was using that, because obviously with full sensor, there would be vignetting. I used the 2.6K mode just because I didn't want to have to take off my cage and my speed booster lock and everything. And by shooting in the 2.6K mode, I got a very nice image, and I was able to do that live stream very quickly. So I just wanted to mention that. The last part to the streaming, which isn't as essential in these times, but as we move out of COVID, and I'm sure people are going to be watching this video after COVID has happened, is lighting. So I'm using a lot of LED lighting in the background, and I'm also using, a key light right here, and I have a rim light also lighting the side of my face right here. So when we get out of this, it's not as easy to buy some of these lights now, but if you get into streaming, just remember lighting is important. And especially when you're using a camera like the Blackmagic, it's nice to, properly light yourself. But the other thing too is we are in COVID right now. This video is being made in the beginning of April, and people are willing to forgive lighting for better quality content, or it's really more content is king. So if you're having a really good conversation, people are willing to forgive those lighting issues, as long as your audio is okay and your video is okay. A lot of the live stream I've been doing has really been coming from other people using webcams on their computer. They've been using cell phone video, and really it's about content. So lighting is really cool. Obviously, I'm doing the whole lighting scenario here, but it's not everything. So if you want to just go out there and get streaming, I recommend just go out there and get streaming. It's a great way to connect with people when we're all stuck home in isolation. It's a great way to basically communicate. So I do highly recommend it. And if you have the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, you can stream. It's easy. And a lot of the things that I spoke about, you can adapt to other cameras like the GH5, Sony a7S II, the a7 III, pretty much any DSLR. As long as it gives you a really nice 1080 signal out of that camera, you can adapt a lot of those things. Really, the main thing you can adapt is the XLR. You're going to need an external recorder at that point if you're going to use a microphone like this. If you're not going to use a microphone like this, you can get away with using lavs, and we can do another video later on down the line. But like I said in the beginning, I wanted to keep this video nice, short, concise. I wanted to go over the basics of streaming with the Pocket 4K. Again, this can be used with the Pocket 6K, and I hope you guys like it. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them down in the comments below, and I will answer them as I see them and as I can get to them. And I want to thank you, everybody, for joining us live. I really do appreciate it, and I will try to do some more of these Tech Talk lives. We probably will do one this weekend with Jeff Worley, who's a great colorist, and you guys may know him from the YouTube channel Craft Show. And we will also have Drew on at some point as well. So again, thank you guys for joining. My name's Jeff Fagan. If you like this content, please hit that like notification, hit the subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks again for joining, and have a good one, guys.